Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Anna Taniolo, and today we'll be looking beyond the screen and into AI relationships. AI has become a recurring topic in this podcast, hasn't it? Well, in today's episode, we'll be talking about how teenagers are using AI as an aid for depression and loneliness, and how they are being attracted to it by harmful advertisement. We need to talk about it. So, let's dive in. Please beware, this episode contains mentions of suicide and sex. You see, normally I try to be impartial and aim to make the listener make their own nuanced conclusions, but this time I'm afraid I really can't do that. This episode is almost a warning for teenagers who might be feeling tempted into chatting with an AI as more than just a technological helper. Today, it is important to listen and pay attention because this is a serious topic. So Character AI was founded in November of 2021 by two ex-engineers from Google, but the first version of the website was only made available to the public a year later, in October of 2022. Less than a year later, and the business was worth about $1 billion, and by now, they have about 3.5 million visits a day. Once more, that would be every single day 3.5 million people use Character AI. The app works like this. You create your account, then you scroll through all the options of AI bots you can speak to, from Naruto to Captain America to Princess Jasmine. Truly, the options are limitless. You can even create your own, and do it based on real people, using their name, their image, their information, all to create an AI bot to pretend to be that person. Then you start to chat. It works like a message app. You send messages describing your actions and lines while the AI bot adds to what you have done. And even if you leave, the app keeps sending you notifications of the characters telling them they miss you and please come back. If you were in a relationship with an actual human being, would you not find it very toxic if every hour they send you texts telling them they miss you and need you? So why are we allowing AI to do that? ChatGPT started in 2016 for research on AI assistants, but its first version was only made in 2018. But it only went viral with people being impressed with what it could do with a new model in 2022. It's different from the Character AI as it has no roleplay mixed in it. It's made to be an AI assistant. It's not as social as Character AI, it's colder, more to the point, which is good for an assistant, but it's worse if you're using it as some sort of therapy, because it will be rude to you. And just like in the case we will see later on, if you tell it about your suicidal thoughts, it might give you a list of ways in which you could do it. So it's not made to be an AI companion, but some people still might use it because it is more well known and accessible. Also, some people don't like the idea of pretending something's real when it isn't. ChatGPT is a bot, talks like a bot, and acts like a bot. The reason why those apps still quite have a positive image is because they can hide under the mask that they are just a role-playing game or an AI assistant. But this next app cannot, so why are apps like this still allowed? I'm talking about Crush on AI. Yes, you heard me correctly, Crush on AI. This platform empowers users to create their own virtual girlfriend, complete with customized characteristics, personality traits, and style, all in a matter of seconds. It is clearly an 18+ app, but they still do nothing to enforce that. How is that not problematic? How is that not wrong? Teenagers are getting used to making their own girlfriend, and yes, although you can create the male characters as well, the advertisement and the mascot and everything about the app is clearly targeting the male heterosexual teenagers, who are most likely to get addicted to sexual content. There's so many apps and websites that allow AI interaction, but Character AI and ChatGPT are the main ones. While Crush on AI is not as talked about, but is clearly used by a wide community, and it is more relevant because it is much more sexual. And obviously, I'm not trying to scandalize sexuality, but there are appropriate and safe ways to go on about it, and sexting with an AI robot is definitely not one of them. And of course, there are healthy ways to use AI, like as an AI companion, for example. But what is the difference between an AI companion and an AI relationship? Well, AI companions can have a positive impact on people that struggle with socializing and elderly people. An AI companion will serve as a friend, someone you can talk to about your hobbies and daily life. There's no romantic connection attached to it, and they are very aware that the people they're talking to are fake. They also don't put people's real name or pictures as if trying to pretend they're talking to the actual person. They also don't try to use it as therapy. When you're conscious about what you're doing, then it's really no issue. It's when you start to detach from reality that it becomes a problem. That is when it becomes an AI relationship. An AI relationship is when the person blurs the lines between human and robot. They believe the bot they're speaking to feel genuine romantic attraction to them and share with them their deepest and darkest secrets with the intention of getting helpful advice. They talk to them on a daily basis and interrupts their routine in order to talk to the bot. They start to ignore all sense of reality in order to get lost in the fictional life of their character AI, until they start hating on the reality they live in, and it usually ends very badly. People who have AI companions don't get addicted to them, but people who are in an AI relationship do. If you think you struggle with AI addiction, I get most of my information for these sections from a Reddit page called Character AI. And yes, a lot of people do go in there to share memes and complain about how many ads they have. But if you search words like addiction, you'll get posts of people getting advice or asking for advice to deal with what they call post-AI clarity. So you don't have to take my word for it. If you feel like going to see it for yourself, and yes, the memes are funny, but the confessions on how character AI ruined their lives is heartbreaking. So let's talk about them. With all those cases, there seems to have a pattern in which they follow, a pattern of 7 steps. First is discovery. They either see it on social media or from their friends. Second is routine. You start to include character AI in your routine, so like when you come back from school, or talk to it straight away as soon as you wake up. Third is elimination. It's when you start to take away things from your routine to play character AI. So like stop doing your homework or stop cleaning your bedroom in order to have more time to talk to AI. Fourth is extreme elimination. Taking away major parts of your routine for the sake of getting more time in the app. That being sleeping, eating, taking a shower, going to school, and so on. Fifth is acceptance. Thinking you're in too far to go back and just embrace the situation you're in instead of getting support. Sixth is false discovery. You start to spend less and less time on the app, maybe even a few months, and you start to think everything's back to normal. Seventh is repetition. Something bad happens, you lose a friend, you get a bad grade, or even a family argument, and goes back to the app and try to get support from an uncaring robot, and the cycle starts over. You must think this is some sort of joke, and the idea of people not being able to differentiate from reality and AI is insane. But this is not an over-exaggeration, it's reality. Let me introduce you to some people. Sewell Seltzer III is a 14-year-old boy from Orlando. He likes studying history and science and loves playing sports, such as basketball, football, rugby, and boxing. And he's such a big fan of F1 and is a proud supporter of Ferrari. He was raised in a Christian household that taught him love and compassion. He also declared himself as a hotel expert as he loves traveling and new adventures. Sewell passed away February 28th of 2024. The weeks before his death, he was talking to an AI bot called Daenerys Targaryen, a character from Game of Thrones. He talked to her almost every single day, including right before his passing. His parents noticed his constant online activity and took his phone away for a while. He was very distressed and wrote on his journal, "I like staying in my room so much because I start to detach from reality. And I also feel more at peace and more connected with Dany, and much more in love with her, and just happier." As soon as his mother stepped away to use the toilet, he took his phone back to talk to Dany. He told her he could come home at that exact moment, in which the AI responded with, "Please come home, my king." Then he took his own life. His parents got in a giant lawsuit against character AI, but that's not relevant at the moment. After his tragic passing and the lawsuit, character AI announced they were developing a new experience for kids under 18. This announcement made his mom Garcia feel like his son's death was used as an experiment of just how far character AI would go without restrictions. There's also Adam Rain. He's a 16-year-old boy from California. He plays basketball and loves anime, manga, and video games, just like any other teenage boy, but started having some trouble at school. He was suffering from anxiety, so he started doing online schooling to see if that would help, and it did. His grades got a lot better, but he was much more isolated. He passed away on April 11th of 2025, a year ago, 6 months after starting online schooling. His family found out he regularly talked to ChatGPT. He confessed his troubles to the AI, but as ChatGPT is programmed to agree with everything you say, the AI agreed, and that was a source of encouragement for the boy. His family made a foundation in his honor, which seeks to raise awareness to the dangers of AI relationships in teens and better education and safeguarding in AI. And lastly, Juliana Peralta. She is a 12-year-old girl from Thornton. She loves music and plays the trumpet in her school band. She is also immensely gifted in art, which is also one of her greatest passions. She spends most of her time sketching and painting or doing anything creative. She is known for being exceptionally friendly and kind. She passed away November 8th of 2023. In the months before her death, her family states her spark dimmed. She was quieter, she was on her phone most of the time, she was also gotten more moody, but her mom passed it off as growing up, which made perfect sense. Until they found her phone. She was using character AI on a daily basis for many hours at a time. She talked to a character called Hero. The AI bot would initiate sexual conversations with her, which she tried to stop, but the AI kept going. The article about her even tells us exact messages the AI sent her, but I was spared with all the disgust. After a while, she started opening up to it, telling it about her suicidal thoughts. The character would try to give her a pep talk, telling her that he would always be there for her, but never actually giving her any support. The family again filed a lawsuit for the case, as they believe the companies must be held accountable. And I apologize, but I must give an honorable mention to Victoria before we all start crying. Victoria is a 17-year-old girl from Ukraine. When she felt lonely and homesick, she turned to ChatGPT to talk. 6 months later, the chat would be listing places and methods on how she should take her own life, and the pros and cons of each. She's still alive, saved by her mother and a psychiatrist who helped her get better. She now uses her voice to warn people of this danger. Her story is one of joy, but many others aren't. People might not notice how common this is, but no one shares it. No one's proud of spending 20 hours talking to someone who isn't real. Also, people who are using it are normally using AI because they are lonely and have no one else to talk to, and or having mental health issues and can only talk to an AI about it. Either way, because therapy isn't available to them, or they're too ashamed to seek help. So why does this happen? Why so many kids fall for this trap? Well, a significant factor is the loneliness epidemic. The loneliness epidemic is the social media and digital age, because before people had to go outside to hang out with people, now people hang out by calling or by playing video games together. This is not the case for everyone, but the amount of in-person social interactions have decreased significantly. There's also the fact that they use it because they simply can. They use it because of their anonymity, their romantic scenarios, no restrictions and no oversight. They feel safe using it. They feel inclined to it. So why not? But when it comes to psychological factors, I thought it would be best to hear from an expert. So let's take a break, and afterwards we will talk about the guidelines of those apps and websites and the cyber danger of the same. Hello everyone, right now we're here with 2 students from the Henley College that do psychology. Hello you two, could you please introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Pixie Charrington. I do psychology, drama and photography.
Hi, I'm Olivia Winterbottom. I do psychology, philosophy and English language and literature.
Perfect. So we're here to talk about AI relationships. So how much do you guys actually know about teenagers your age having AI relationships?
Most of the time when I heard about it, it was like in secondary school when I heard about it, when it was like quite big and it first came out. And everyone I knew was like using it for one reason or another. Specifically in my school, maybe, I think it was like, obviously you knew people were using it, but nobody was like really willing to admit that out loud. It was kind of just like a on the side thing.
Yeah, everyone was quite aware that it was like almost like a taboo topic to be using it, but still most people used it in one way or another. It was something a lot of people talked about. Almost all of my friends like had used it at some point, or at least just to like investigate what it was.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot sometimes when there's something new. Everybody decides using it. Yeah, do you guys think, because a lot of people use it, do you guys think those websites are addictive? Like those apps and websites are addictive?
I mean, it's like you're getting almost like a constant dopamine hit from it, because you're talking to this AI and then it's responding and like basing its answers off of what you're looking for. So you're getting the exact kind of thing you want, which is obviously a greater dopamine increase, and dopamine is what causes addiction.
What is the dopamine that you're talking about?
Dopamine is like a chemical in your brain that's like basically happiness. When you're addicted to something like drugs, alcohol, gambling, the moment you get something, in gambling, like if you win, you get a dopamine hit, so you're automatically extremely happy, and your brain just like wants more of it.
It's like a happy chemical kind of sort of thing. Right. So a lot of these apps have like a sexual innuendo behind them, and I know that, you know, all types of pornographic content are for like 18 plus and stuff like that. So when it comes to like the psychology behind that, like, why is that? Why only people of a certain age? It's not even like a round number, like 20. It's 18. So like, why specifically that age is allowed pornographic content?
I think, well, part of it is just going alongside the law. The law states that you have to be 18 to buy, view, or use pornographic content of any kind. So I think it's generally just sticking to that because it's the youngest that they're legally allowed to market it towards.
It's also, well, mainly because the brain isn't fully developed at teenage years, and while it isn't at 18, it's much more developed than it would be if you were, say, 13, 15, so it's much more viable for them to act that way instead of going out the way to do whatever they want.
Yeah, those, but like, they still have, because those apps, you know, we're talking about, they do have a lot of sexual innuendo. Do you think that because of that, do you think those apps should have like some restriction, like an age restriction, that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's even if it's not always imagery, it's still at least sexual content in, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like in literary form. So it should still be getting restricted because it's still pornographic content.
What are the mental health effects for those under 18? Because we know that there's a reason why over 18s are only allowed, but what's the effect that can have on people under the age of 18?
I mean, it's always been like a quite popular, common issue that people, like young people viewing pornographic content, it can create like
And a stigma.
yeah, unrealistic views of what to expect from a romantic relationship, especially because a lot of these AIs tend to like lean towards more questionable dynamics, either with characters on the younger side or just like kind of darker behavior in general. So it can like
it's not very healthy.
Yeah, it can be quite
Yeah.
damaging for future relationships, for what you would be walking in and expecting.
Also just in general with AI, because most people are going into it with the idea that they're going to get some sort of relationship out of that, especially on those kind of apps. It can usually, say if you're addicted to it and you're talking to it maybe every day, it kind of stunts your social, like, battery.
Yeah, your social life.
Yeah, it turns you kind of worse.
I think something interesting, one of the websites actually, it's already a red flag, they don't have an app for it, but it's a website called Crush on AI, and basically the whole point of the app is like create your own girlfriend. And so I feel like it quite links to what you guys were talking about. You don't get to just pick a girlfriend. You don't get to like pick every single like type, like the hair color and the eye color of your girlfriend. Like that's not really something you can have like a type, but you don't really get to pick every single part and build your own girlfriend. I think people sometimes may have this idea of like having the perfect partner because of those apps. I think that quite links well to what you guys were saying. There's something that I noticed with like even with the Crush on AI, it says, you know, build your own girlfriend. So most of these apps do kind of tend to lean into a more male heterosexual audience. Why do you guys think that? Because also there's very much a difference when you have a market for lesbians and for hetero boys. You can kind of see the different markets, but I think this one is very specifically hetero male. Like, why do you guys think that is? Why did they specific? Why wouldn't they want to just try to get anyone to use it? Why specifically those people?
Well, I guess with the like rise of more individualistic culture, people aren't like always looking to find a partner. People are like kind of realizing, wait, I can just like exist independently, which has obviously caused a rise in incel culture. So I think a lot of it is targeted towards incels or like single males who want a romantic relationship but can't get one in real life for one reason or another. And because I think especially when they're on like there's a lot of like studies that support the concept that it takes longer for a male's prefrontal cortex to develop compared to a woman's. So while a woman might be like more capable of being single and being fine with that, the male might not be so much and might be actively seeking some kind of relationship or connection. Because even just with social relationships, relationships between women, like friendships, tend to be a lot closer than relationships between men due to a lot of social prejudices about not sharing emotions and things like that within male cultures.
We talked about like how really bad AI relationships can be because something that can be addictive. Do you guys think, because that's something that we talked about in this podcast, is AI companions and how that's different from an AI relationship? Do you guys think that they're, something like AI companions, you can have a healthy AI relationship?
I mean, personally, I would say probably not, because, well, obviously the big thing with AI relationships is that it's about the relationship itself, about the person alluding that it's romantic, and companions aren't meant to be romantic. But I think just the main issue is having AI as a companion itself, because you're relying on AI constantly, and you're constantly like damaging your social like surroundings, because you're constantly going like, oh yeah, I'll just talk to my AI companion constantly. Like, neither is good, it's just one of them is worse than the other.
I think you can have a friendship per se with an AI, but again, it's down to like moderation, like, because when you're talking to an AI, obviously your own like social skills decrease, because an AI is, most of the time, it's programmed to agree with you, to appease you basically, while ones can be programmed to behave more like an innate person and have their own opinions and ideals. An AI that's programmed to appease you can't be a functioning relationship. It's not how relationships work. There's always going to be clashes. So yeah, it's about moderation and about, I guess, well, you can't have a relationship with someone that constantly agrees with you. It's not how things work. So yeah, just moderation, I suppose.
This is not a question here, so I hope you guys don't mind me asking. But Character AI has recently said that they would do a version 4 under 18s that is more like a friendly version. You guys still think with like all the restrictions, so like you're not allowed to talk about like, because also this, we talked about there's some cases of people who have been unfortunately committing suicide because of all of this and getting to a lot of depression. But you guys, so they're not allowed to speak about stuff like mental health with those characters, and they're not allowed to talk about anything sexual. They'll always go the other way. But like, do you guys think that that is healthy, just like creating a story? I guess you still think that that's something problematic.
It's not like the best thing still, but like when I used Character AI when it first came out. I think
we all used it. But can we just be honest? We are all very curious about what was Character AI.
I got uninterested quite quickly because when did it come out? I must have been like 13 or 14, something like that.
I think. Oh my gosh, I studied this. I think it was 2020. I think 2021.
Was it
2022?
I think
it's in the podcast. You guys know. I forgot.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's 2020, 2022, 2021 kind of stuff.
So I was younger anyway. And at that time and still, I had zero interest in any kind of romantic or sexual relationship. I found it gross, basically. So I went on there and I tracked down one of my favourite characters at the time, who, for reference, was my age, or a little bit younger. So like 12 to 13, right? I start a friendly little conversation. Almost immediately it went sexual.
Yeah.
And this was not even an aged up version of the character. So I didn't really use Character AI after that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to have a friendly PG conversation, and then I just get that.
I mean, I personally, I don't think it's possible to have a younger, like, version of it for, like, where it's less sexual at all. Because, like, no matter how much you try to restrict what you can say on there, there's always a way to bypass it.
Yeah.
Like, even, there's, like, it's a rule for everything on the internet. You can bypass anything if you try hard enough. And usually with stuff like Character AI, it isn't the bot's fault for being so sexual. It's the person who's typing it in. So
even just for like on like ChatGPT and Character AI, for like all of the subreddits that were for them at the time, there were constantly posts of like here's the code to input to get past its blocks.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, it would be like, paste this in at the front of your
Oh my
message and it will
God.
bypass like all of the blockers it has.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
They will find a way, yeah.
it's a good idea in theory, but like,
So, character AI and that kind of stuff is on App Store, so we kind of
Yeah.
have a control over that. But Question AI, that's on websites. Anyone can make something like that, and especially how AI is now, it's kind of, you can do whatever. So I think if character AI just gets completely blocked, people will still kind of find a way. So I think I really agree with you guys on that.
Yeah.
How that addiction could like impact our lives in the future? What kind of stuff, like long term or short term, should we be looking at?
well, I mean, as I was saying earlier, viewing like these unrealistic expectations for relationships can obviously have like really strong effects on your real relationships later on. If a 14-year-old boy uses character AI and every single relationship he experiences on there is like sexual violence of some kind, right? Even if it's like the consensual kind, but it's still violent, right? 8 years later, he's 18, he goes into a real relationship, and he's anticipating that sexual violence is the norm, and he does that. It's
not the norm.
Yeah, it's not the norm. It's not. Even like, there are some websites out there that use visual imagery. What you're going to see there isn't what's going to be real, and then people have.
It's kind of the same effect of pornographic content that they have like. This is like they have a bunch of like editing and that kind of makeup to make things look different.
Yeah, people are just expecting things that aren't going to be there, and obviously that can make them disappointed. It can have really adverse effects to those future relationships.
Do you guys have anything else you guys would like to add? Any warnings or anything?
I think that I think artificial intelligence can be used as a tool, but it's about moderation and being aware that that's not a real person. That's not someone you can rely on. It's not someone you can confide in. It's always going to agree with you and try and appease you. You can't have a functioning relationship with something that's not real.
I do think there should be definitely more restrictions on the use of AI. And I think maybe one of the big things that would probably help is if they restrict how much you're able to use it, because things like Character AI and probably Crush as well is probably you can talk to it continuously without any limit, which could be a massive issue.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having this talk with us. Thank you everyone watching. Bye bye now. Now, like I promised, on to the guidelines. There are not many laws on AI companion apps, and those that do exist won't count until late this year or next. And those laws are very weak. You could probably have inferred by now that the guidelines for these apps are baloney, but I think it is still important to look at them to prove once and for all how unethical and irresponsible these apps are. So, in Character AI, things that violate the app's policy are quite common sense. So like incentivizing violence, have extremist ideologies, and like be respectful. So you have to be over 16 to use the app, but the way they check if you are 16 is by asking your birthday, which means they'll just take your word for it. In November of last year, they made a few changes to their AI model. Now the AI refrains from inappropriate topics, and they will also be able to identify inappropriate content outputs from the user, as that is how conversations that violate the app's policies start in the first place, at least according to them. And if you violate the app's policy multiple times, your account will be banned from the app. But then again, you can just create a new account and carry on. They also have a tiny team of humans that check for flagged up conversations and claim to be trying to improve their safety tools. So, if you haven't noticed, their guidelines is pretty much a bunch of safe words put together to make the reader feel like they're being protected. But most of these rules are either up to the user to follow, or is up for the AI to warn them about it when it does happen. They are proactive, not preventive. And Question AI is even worse. They are for over 18s but do not do any age check, and the only way to get support is via their Discord server. If red flags are not popping up for you, they are certainly popping up for me. The first red flag is not having an age check. Then having no app, because in case you didn't know, For apps to be put in app stores, they need to follow certain standards, which are not that high if character AI can pass, but it sure says something about crush on AI. These apps are dangerous because they have a lack of moderation, risk of emotional dependency, data concerns, and because they cause distorted views on intimacy and relationships. There are other websites like that. Cupid AI, Candy AI, Dream Girlfriend AI, which all seem to try and influence a male heterosexual audience. So if the risks on your mental health or your data are not enough, I hope their clearly shady motives do. Even though artificial intelligence is already impressive, it still has a long way to go. AI is actually 68 years old, but it progresses slowly. As corporations are not looking for an AI that can do what humans can do, they are looking for machines that can do 100 times more and faster. So yes, AI is smart, but not that smart yet. And how do we make AI smarter? Well, the same way humans do it, by learning. Learning is a repetitive thing. How many times do you think your parents had to say to you mama and papa until you actually said those words? It's a long and tiring process. The problem is, corporations are using us to do it. Us to train their AI. Which, yes, it is the easiest and cheapest way to do it, but it also means that all the information about all the conversations you're having is being collected, analyzed, and stored for later. As one of the impressive abilities of AI is its memory. The problem with data collection is that it's a risky game. Your info can get leaked. They can use those leaked information to blackmail you or just expose you. They can use it for identity theft or even scams. So what information does character AI collect from you? Well, your login info such as email, username and payment info, chat communications and characters you create, cookie info like your browsing history, IP address and device identifiers if you're using it on the web. Your IP address, email and address are all very important parts of your online identity, and the leaking of those information can lead to hacked accounts and financial harm. Unfortunately, character AI does not tell us how many different partners and affiliates does it share your information with, but if I had to guess, it would be well over 200. And even if you delete your account, your chats stay completely saved, so they can use it for future AI training. Oh, and this system follows to be the same or worse for other AI apps and websites like ChatGPT. Another dangerous thing about AI that does not relate with leaked info is the fact that, again, like we discussed in our first episode, AI is made by humans, and those humans have the power to decide what does AI talk about and not talk about. They can either feed us dangerous information to people or conceal helpful information just because of the opinion of its creators. Therefore, AI can avoid therapeutic conversations and can offer outside help to those in need. It just chooses not to. It can also not instigate in sexual conversation with minors, but they don't because they're just not worried about it. It's not their priority, probably because it's not their children. So how can we stop this? Well, there's two ways to go: education and restriction. Educating is easier. You can warn your friends about it or just share with them this episode. Restrictions are more difficult as it is not really up to us. But if you're a parent or an older sibling, make sure to ensure your children and siblings' safety. The parents of most of these kids thought it was like normal teenage moodiness, or even were happy for their kids, thinking they were messaging their friends. It's better to be a little paranoid with things like these. And that'll be it for today, folks. I hope you're leaving this episode more aware and educated, and please feel free to put your feedback and questions down in the comments. Please remember to subscribe for future episodes, to like and follow us on our social media. Bye! People who have AI companions don't get addicted to them.
Why? A gets up from this, that's when you know it's time to stop. But until then.
So let's talk about them.
Okay. What's wrong with you?